Hi, I'm Sue, and I'm here today with Ole and Puria, who will introduce themselves shortly. And this is a series for Feast for the Soul 2023 called Compassion in Action, and how we can become more involved as individuals with our own self-compassion, and how we can radiate out into community. It all starts with self. So I'd love to hand over to Ole and Puria, who'd like to go first, and talk a little bit about the purpose here, which is life purpose groups, and where it came from, and the involvement that you've had with it. So, who'd like to go first?
I can please go first.
Yeah.
Okay.
After having spent 40 years in business, I dedicated my life to create a better world. It felt like much more important. And I discovered a woman called Barbara Marx Hubbard, who had a one-year class on how to become our true selves. However, both Barbara and I felt that the most important thing is not only to grow up in each inside ourselves and connect with the universe, but actually to change the world. So we started to talk about what is life purpose. And we started to talk about this in small groups of 5 to 8 people. And it was such a wonderful experience. So we decided to create a structure to offer that to the world. So this was introduced 2018. So that's now almost 5 years ago.
Thank you. We'll come back to Barbara Marx Hubbard, because I think it's always wonderful to acknowledge source. Thank you, Ole. Puria, would you like to share a little bit about you?
Yes, so my name is Puria. I live in Germany, and my whole life is about healing and consciousness work. And a few years ago, I did 3 years in a row a series which I called the Conscious Evolution Summits. And there I also had the privilege to interview Barbara. And when I kind of tried to find a name for what is really meaningful for me, I just discovered that she also had a foundation kind of with the same name. So I was really very curious to meet her. And she also was very curious, who is this woman who is also exploring conscious evolution. And this is kind of how I came into the circle, and how I also met Ole. And I just can also admit that, yes, on one level, it's beautiful if you evolve yourself, you heal yourself, you find ways to overcome and integrate trauma, and to find ways how you can relax and really also, tap into the bigger bodies you have and connect with source and nature and all of that. But then where it gets really juicy is when you come together with people and you realize so much more what is possible when you are in a resonant group container where everybody really comes from the heart and is also daring to tap into what is always new and emerging. And this is what excites me about these groups. So not so much finding an individual purpose. That's not so much for me, because my sense is I live my purpose, but exploring in a group, how we can embody a bigger group being and find the intelligence and resources, shared resources, a shared heart, a shared brain, a shared purpose, so to speak. And this is what excites me in that. And if there is space, I can maybe share some very specific experiences later.
Thank you. I can see the passion emerging out of you and the light as you talk about it. So genuine. Ola, would you please explain, say, the dynamics of what the Life Purpose Group is and how it works, and then we'll go back into the experiences of it.
Yeah. So in order to offer this to the world, we have created a website called lifepurposegroup.org. And there you can post your availability for a 1.5-hour meeting, a weekly time. And I can show you what this web page looks like. It looks like this. So when people insert their availability in this form, as soon as 5 people somewhere on the planet are available at the same time, they will get each other's email addresses and be invited to form a group. We will offer an experienced person to coach the first meeting to help them get started in a good way. But then the group is on their own. And we have some guidelines which helps the group through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And we ask that everybody who join participate at least until every person has been center stage. We think it's a lot of value in really dedicating time to each person, maybe to talk for 15-20 minutes about how they have evolved through their life and how they see their mission right now, and get reflections from the other in the group, which is always a beautiful experience, because we tend to downplay our own importance and our own capabilities. But everybody on earth right now are so important, and we have so much to offer. And in the group, we support each other to dare to live our purpose, and we will support each other in living our purposes, and also to see abilities, skills that we have that we don't really give ourselves credit for. So go to this web page, and that will be pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's what you're saying, that we are our own biggest critics, and to be able to be in a group and actually be deeply listened to, as you express, and then this beautiful reflecting back is so nourishing, isn't it? And obviously expansive as well. So safety is always something that's at the top of our mind, isn't it? Safety and confidentiality. I'm assuming that all the filters that you use, it's very easy to get involved, and if you decide during the process that you don't want to be involved anymore, again, it's free will, isn't it? So you can choose. Yeah. And if you've got 5 people joining, then that lasts for 5 weeks and more if they choose to do so. And how long? For about an hour, 2 hours?
Hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Each time. And after everybody has been center stage and in the focus of this loving atmosphere that Puria is talking about, then the group can continue to evolve together, which also Puria says. This is very much about evolving together and supporting each other in life. Mm-hmm. So the first group that I joined when we started 5 years ago is still alive, although we now only meet once every quarter to check back and support each other, and we know each other like we grew up together.
Oh, thank you. So I personally know quite a few people who've been in these groups with you, and again they echo the same thing. It's just been so beautiful to be with people who really understand. We're all part of this co-creation. So Puria, would you share a little bit about what actually the experience has been for you during these groups?
Definitely. So I'm actually in 2 groups, and in one group we really focused on what just is shared, where we support each other, where we listen to each other. And we meet since, I guess it's now four years at least, really weekly. And we even met physically. So because it's as Ole said, you become really friends. And I felt a lot of encouragement in the work I was doing with the summits. That was kind of really a next step for me to get that visible. Before I had clients and I gave seminars and workshops, but to expose myself in a larger field, I just got a lot of feedback and encouragement and also physical help. So with transcription and stuff like that. So it was beautiful. And in the other group, this is where kind of I mentioned already, there we are more really interested in learning about the group field. So there it's not so much supporting each other individually, but that comes as a side effect, because when we grow in our next potential to really realize that we are totally connected and we go through everything together, it has an impact on the individuals as well. And even though we don't talk about issues, problems, wishes, or a thing like that, but just sense the group field and what is available there. And it comes with a certain intelligence and also actualization of ourselves and a level of love and compassion, which has an influence then. For example, when I was in the water swimming, I had this feeling I'm not swimming on my own. The whole group is swimming with me and experiencing the beauty of the water. Or when I'm in a challenging situation, I also can remind myself, oh, I don't have to carry it as an individual. It's difficult, it's heavy, it's overwhelming, but then I remember and I said, no, we go through that together as a group, as the whole humanity. I expand, I relax, I trust, I sense how another level of flow comes into my system and insights might come, or capacities or resources show up. It's a miracle. It's very, you can't just grasp it with the intellect. And maybe also for the listeners and viewers of our conversation, really, I invite you to also listen to that with your whole open field, all the levels which are available, to be able to get a taste what is possible when we open like that, and when we meet and share openly. It's amazing.
Wow. Ole.
Yes, I would just like to add a dimension to that. And I'm thinking about your Feast of the Soul class. It is beautiful to have inner peace in myself. But we know that when we can come together in a group, we can experience an even higher energy field than we can when we are alone in our room, meditating or whatever. And this beautiful energy that we come into collectively is what we experience in the life purpose groups. And it's also, I think, how humanity eventually will be together. We will all be together. We all will appreciate each other. So the life purpose groups is like a test tube or an experiment workshop where we learn to connect with the world, with people. And it has changed my life. Whenever I meet people, whether it's on the train or on the streets or in the shop, I see the beautiful child behind their tired eyes. There's beauty in everyone. So it's like a beautiful experience in a school for the new.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, peace, Ole, just yesterday in our group, we had this where we all felt a gentle, warm blanket on each other for the group. And also the whole planet was enveloped in this gentle, peaceful blanket. So we embody our most evolved beings there, and that has the potential and a huge impact into the whole world and humanity, and makes what we all want to witness and to really have in our life, is that we live peacefully, creative, with joy and playful together, and enjoy life. And there, as you said, Ole, there is this smaller container where we have it weekly, and once a month we also have a space where everybody from all groups can join, where it's a bigger container, and you just live in another reality there. You know that another world is possible. It's already here. It's not the future. It's here. And we just hope that more and more people come together like that, and also great with this feast for the soul. That's such a beautiful invitation, and where we then can really have a different life. Yeah.
And I'm thinking about Source, and I'm thinking about Barbara Marx Hubbard, who I believe passed away in 2019, was it? At a very grand age, a life well lived. And I wondered if one of you would just share a little bit about Barbara. I will post the conversation that you had with Barbara that you've just mentioned within the link for this conversation. But if Barbara's looking down in on this conversation, what would she be thinking or feeling?
Oh, she would be so happy. I mean, she had a 13.7 billion year perspective on evolution, how it all started with the Big Bang and energy, and eventually atoms were created, and molecules, and single cell and multi-cell, and eventually the human beings as the most sophisticated being. So it's been aggregated into ever greater wholes, but there's always been a dysfunctionality towards the end of a period, and that's where we are now, with humanity almost destroying our planet and creating separation and conflicts everywhere, also in politics, in democracies. So the only way to proceed now is to take the next step of aggregation, which is to come together as a united humanity. And that was her goal, and that is why she talked about creating this energetic field, co-creating, coming together, and create a planet that we all want. It can be a paradise on earth if we come together like that, and that's what she saw as the next step of our evolution. She called it a birth. It's a painful process that we're going through, but we know it's for something good.
Thank you.
And what I remember, what I loved about her when she was saying, I'm becoming newer every day. And this is also really what we practice when we come together. We always ask the question, what is new in you? Because now let's say the time, the speed of time and development and evolution is so fast that we really need to, or we have this huge invitation to step into the new every moment. And then what I also loved was this joining genius. So when you as a genius and another person as a genius come together, they're really with supra-sex, she called it, because then something happens, and out of that a new being emerges. And this is what is happening, or what we can see also in the groups. There evolves, or comes out a new group being, and we all can then tap into this bigger resources and bigger capacities, and this is just so, it's not a theory, we really can experience it and really have the effect of that in practical life.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that sense of belonging, knowing that, you know, the other paradigm of isolation and loneliness is well, it leads to mental health, it leads to, you know, it leads to everything in that downward vortex, where this is, and I know for certain is such an antidote to that sense of collaboration, co-creating, belonging. It's beautiful. So I'm going to thank you both very much. Puria, sorry, I chopped you.
That was just the thought again, that we really meet in this frequency of love. And the frequency of love is the purest and the most powerful frequency here on the planet. And when we come back again and again and recalibrate and reset our system, where we embody this highest, most subtle but most powerful frequency, and align with it and bring it in every detail of our life without effort, because when we relax, we are that, because all the substance, all the material is just made out of love. And when we experience that again and again every week with others, it really also helps you to really shift more that this is the foundation of your life, and this is the priority, and this is the invitation, that every action comes out of this attitude, of this frequency, and it just has so much more impact. And maybe you also hear it when I'm coming from that. The words, they have really gravity, they have substance, and it doesn't matter so much what you then do. You can do whatever you like. When it's filled with this frequency, gives you joy, it will co-create another reality. Yeah.
Thank you. Nothing more to say for this moment. So true, so very beautiful, and I thank you both for being here with me and each other today. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.